Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm Tess Brigham. I'm the therapist.
And I'm Brooke Brigham. I'm the attorney.
And we are back with our Sister Wives Rewind. We are moving right along to Season 9, Episode 1. The title is A Secret Marriage and Sister Wives Unseen. This was very strange because my theory is that we had two producers that had two different ideas of what the first episode should be, and they both basically said, let's compromise. So one said, we have to continue the story with Meri. And then the other one's like, no, we want to do this unseen thing. We want to do a clip retrospective. Let's just put them both together because they were very much like 45 minutes in, like it became it was basically two episodes smushed together that had no relationship to each other.
Yeah, the first half or more is a continuation of the aftermath of the legal divorce, which was quite interesting. Yeah, and then all of a sudden we're doing a best of, like, never before seen clips from tell-alls spanning over several different years, over like 5 years or something worth of tell-alls. So, which were also picked, I felt, because they were a bit juicy, maybe stuff that, I don't know, kind of there. I thought it was interesting because, excuse me, they have a lot of clips of the kids talking about Kody and the moms, which I thought was super interesting, given like what we know now and the way that they describe it. I mean, we'll get to it when we get to it, but whatever.
Yeah. Some intern put together a Sister Wives Unseen, and they were just like, okay, let's just make this guy happy and slap it on to the beginning of this. And the other thing too is, did you notice that when they started off this episode, was like, okay, well, let's show you the last 5 to 10 minutes of the last episode.
Yeah.
Because we start with Ron going, I need a notary.
Yeah, in case you forgot. Well, it is the beginning of a new season. So
yes,
we're refreshing people's recollection here. Yeah.
Yes. And it has to start with, we need a notary. Now, this was, okay, so they signed the paperwork. All right, this is fascinating. Kody and Meri leave together, go to a dinner. Robin, gone. Do you know what I mean? So they walk off together, and so they all leave separately. And so Cody's big thank you to Meri is to take her to Hugo's cellar. This looks fun. That's what he said. This looks fun. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, as if they just stumbled upon it. Like,
yeah. Well,
what kind of food was there? I don't remember. Now.
They were eating some very sad salads. I mean, not even Lakai. You don't even get to go to Lakai.
No, I mean, she should get like a big consolation prize dinner.
Something. Yeah. No, she just got some really sad salad with like store-bought croutons and, that kind of thing. Yeah. And then this I thought was weird too. He's telling her that he's really proud of her. Now, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting word to use because it means when you say I'm proud of you, it means that you've done something that I like, that I appreciate, or I see, or I value. It's like,
yeah. It's almost like he's saying, thank you for doing what I wanted you to do that you didn't really want to do.
Yes.
Because, I'm sorry, we said, or I said this at least last time. I don't believe this is Meri's idea in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
At all.
Yes. I think they've made it seem like her idea. Yeah. But the more I watch this, the more I'm like, oh, I think there's something off about all of this. So then we go right to boom, 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 boom. So now, is this where they're in the yard together? So Kody and Robin are in the yard together. We got to call Meri.
So they call Meri. Obviously, this is all staged, but they call Meri over to just check in with her to see how she is after all of this, or.
Yeah, I feel again this was very staged, and I think the two of them got together and said, "Okay, we don't want to seem like the bad guys in all of this, so let's make sure that we're really including Meri, including her in our plans. So let's bring her over." And they, the other thing too is I think this is the middle of the summer in Vegas or something. I mean, it must have been 1,000,000 degrees outside. They're all sitting outside anyway. But they talked to her and they talked to her about, okay, now that Kody wanted to know, have you heard from Ron? Have you heard from the courts?
Yeah. Is it final? Is it final
yet? Is it done?
Can we get married now? Can Robin and I get married now, please?
So he asks about that. And Meri basically says, no, I haven't heard anything. And it's been 2 weeks. So that's the timeline of where we're at. And, then Meri reveals that she does not want to know when they get married, which I understand. And they're like, but why, Meri? We've been a team. We're a team. The three of us, we're doing this together. Meri, you need to, don't you want to do that?
Yeah. You need to act like you're a part of this plan. Yeah. But that's the thing. If it was her idea originally to begin with, then you'd think she would want to be part of it. If they're saying, yeah, we want you to be part. But no, Meri already has buyer's remorse. You can just, you know what I mean? You can just
a little bit, yeah.
At this picnic table, just the way that she is, her mannerism, everything about her, you can tell that she's kind of pissed. Like, what, she's thinking, what have I done? And, and she's starting to be, and this continues throughout the episode. I felt like she just kept getting sadder and sadder.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but I think they also kind of did her dirty again. And we'll see it later in the episode, but like kind of jerking her around a little bit. Yeah. Like, stay, come, go, no, don't be here. Yes, be here. But, sort of. And I got the sense that when she made this comment about, I don't want to know when it happens, like, I'm with you, Meri. I wouldn't want to know. I would just be like, go and do what you got to do, but I don't want to be a part of it. And this is what I love about Kody and Robin. It's like, there's no sense of, maybe we should listen to her. Maybe we shouldn't push this. Maybe we should be respectful. She's setting a boundary. Oh, crazy. And not even respecting it. And Robin, Miss Safe Boundary, who loves to shove all that stuff down your throat, you can't even spot it when someone's setting one.
Because this is a storyline, this is a storyline for them, for Robin and Kody. This is devastating thing for Meri.
Mm-hmm.
You know, God, I the more I watch these old seasons, the more I feel sorry for Meri. In a lot of ways, like,
Yeah.
and this is one of them. I just feel like she was forced into this. I don't think she wanted to do it.
Yeah. I think Meri, and this is not a secret, but I think Meri's always struggled with anger, because underneath all that anger is this deep sadness and unhappiness that this is sort of how her life is turning out, or this is what it is. I think part of it is not being able to have as many children, and then seeing her sister wives have all these children, and then very quickly her role being sort of pushed aside. And here we are with Leon being off at college, and she's really on her own. And I think that it's this thing of, she got angrier and angrier, and that pushed people away, and it pushed, she could isolate herself in so many ways.
Yeah. And she even said, I think it started happening in Vegas, but definitely in Flagstaff, she was like, nobody comes to my house. Nobody comes to see me. That's why she was angry, when people didn't want to help her move. And she's like, well, why? You'd help everyone else move, or, it's like, what about me? She really was kind of tossed aside, like disposable.
Yeah.
And
being the one legal wife really was and being the first and being the legal wife really did give her something.
Yeah. It was her only claim to fame in the family, really.
Well, and then can you also imagine then having to do this show and talk about how strong our family is, our family, our family. But you can't possibly say anything about that, because you have a list of things that your husband has given you, of things that you need to do. And one of them is, you got to play ball, and you got to be nice, and you got to do this, and you got to do that. Yeah, it's just, it's not cool.
It's not cool.
Yeah. So this, Janelle thinks this is a good, this is a good time to, and this I thought was very odd.
Let's rub salt in the wounds here.
But yeah, why now, Janelle? I get her process and thinking, but I wonder if Janelle, this is something that's been in the back of her mind, and that she was just having a call with a producer, and it was like, Janelle's like, this guy's never going to get off the phone with me until I give him something to talk about. And I think she just said, well, I've been thinking about making up with Meri. Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. There's a storyline.
Well,
so now she's got to roll with it.
Yeah. Do you think maybe Janelle felt sorry for her? I think,
maybe.
Because Janelle, I think, could see through all this, and she could see what was happening. And I think she saw the manipulation. Janelle's not stupid. I don't think she was buying this. I think she was feeling sorry. I think she genuinely kind of felt bad and wanted to extend an olive branch, because, as we all know, there's been this tension between the two of them from the start. And, maybe she's just feeling like, enough already. But Meri's not in that right headspace really, right now to deal with it. Because, I went back, I made a little timeline here.
Okay.
The Janelle and Meri timeline. And kind of the source of the anger between these two people. Okay. So in 1998, Janelle marries Meri's brother, Adam. Okay. In 1990, 2 years later, Kody and Meri get married. And Janelle is at the wedding with her husband, Meri's brother.
Yes.
But later that year, Janelle divorces Meri's brother and becomes friends with, Kody, and is hanging around, as we know from the book, the Sister Wives book. So they're friends. And then in 1993, now mind you, remember Meri said she thought she was going to get pregnant, on her honeymoon. Yeah. She was going to start having babies right away. Okay, so they get married in 1990. It's now 1993. Kody and Janelle get married. And for 3 years, Meri has been wanting to get pregnant, trying to get pregnant, is not pregnant. And then Kody marries her ex-sister-in-law.
Yeah.
And, who knows why Janelle won't even acknowledge that she was married to this man. So I don't know what went down between the two of them, but Meri probably has some feelings of like, you fucked my brother over, or so, that's her brother.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's like taking his side. So this woman comes in who just kind of has inserted herself into your family, marries your husband, and then right away, the next year, 1994, Kody and Christine get married. Meri still has not had a baby. And then later that year in 1994, Logan is born. And then 1995, Aspen is born. And then later in the year 1995, Leon is born. So, this has all been building up. And, another thing I'm convinced has to do with their strained relationship. And we talked about this on our Patreon about how the biggest fight we ever had in our lives as sisters was over cleanliness.
Yes.
Okay. Now, notice there's a marked difference between the cleanliness of Janelle and Meri. And they talk about this in the book too, about how they have disagreements about housekeeping, because Meri is very clean, organized, everything is in its place. Janelle is just got shit stacked up everywhere. I mean, the scenes when you see her bedroom, the kids' bedrooms, I mean, there's just like piles of laundry in the hallway. Her bedroom looks like, worse than a college kid, a college boy, his room. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's a slob.
I'm not
slob.
as bad as Janelle.
No,
I'm not Janelle. My house is a little more organized than that, but I am Janelle in the sense that I'm just like, okay. I'll worry about that later, but that would bug you. It would.
Oh yeah.
You could not walk by. I mean, if something like fell on the ground or whatever, I'd be like, oh, I'll get that later, but you would have to pick it up. And I think that's who Meri is.
Yeah. So I think that it was the combination of just this, like, Janelle sort of came in and was living the life that Meri wanted to be living. And Janelle probably hurt her family of origin in some way.
Yeah.
And she's a slob. And this is my theory of the source. This is the source of this lifelong tension between the two. And so I think Janelle is kind of feeling sorry for her, but Meri is not having it. She is not in the headspace for this apology at all. She's like, what? Why now?
Well, she was actually going to leave the house. She was like getting her stuff together and she's like about to walk out the door. I just want to say really quickly, sister wives, like siblings, or anything else, everyone has a role. Everyone plays a role in a family. People fall into their roles because of maybe how the other person is. So I was just chatting with a client about this, where his brother was very, very angry after their parents got divorced. So he felt like he had to be the peacemaker. He felt like, I'm the good time guy. I'm not, and here they are, 30 years later, still stuck in these roles of the angry one and then the one that has to get along with everyone. And I think the more like Janelle comes in and maybe felt to Kody like a bit of a like, oh gosh, she doesn't care that I throw my pants on the ground or I'm doing any of these things. And I think that also probably hurt Meri as well. Like that. And so what happens is the more someone becomes uptight, the other person kind of loosens up, and then it becomes, they get farther and farther away from each other. And I'm sure that Kody was much nicer to Janelle. Not only did she produce the firstborn male, but she also is easy. Yeah, she's very easy. So I'm sure he felt like, and then of course, then they start fighting. It's like, oh crap, I got to find a new one,
Yeah, who told him that was a good idea? I mean, I guess it worked.
Someone in this church.
Yeah, that's the great advice these men give each other.
These idiots. Yeah. I mean, again, they're idiots. This is their whole religion. This is what they're doing here. It's like, of course their advice is terrible.
Yeah. And Christine even knew it was like a tenet of their religion. Yeah. You have trouble with 2 wives, you bring in a third. That's why I wanted to be a third. I wanted to be the peacemaker. I wanted to be this. So yeah, obviously it's a thing.
Yeah.
In that religion. And, yeah, no, you're right. I think, and Kody always, I think, goes to Janelle when he just doesn't want to be bothered, because Janelle has such low expectations from him.
Yeah.
So low that basically the only expectation that she really ever had of him was to be a good father.
Mm-hmm.
And she stayed around as long as he was a good father. And the minute he stopped being a good father, she was out.
Oh, yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. And that's why, and he calls her the Teflon Queen. But I think really at the end, it was just, I think it's the recognition of, oh, I love her more than she loves me. I need her more than she needs me. And he does not like that. That did not feel good. So what does he do? She's Teflon. She's a bitch. She's this. She's ice cold. Like, what's the worst thing you can call a woman, an ice queen? But it's a little bit like, no, Kody, she just isn't that into you. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know why she was so eager to come and marry you, but
now that I think that when we take a step back and really look at it, yeah, absolutely. If I was in Meri's position, I would be livid. I would also be livid that this woman that broke my brother's heart or whatever happened between them, who's not even in this religion, goddamn shows up and is and because that's the thing, once you divorce someone's family, you kind of leave, right?
Yeah.
Don't you? You don't linger around. So obviously she was still lingering around. She was still hanging out. And then her mother comes and marries the father-in-law. Like, I could imagine Meri feeling a little bit like, did this feel planned? Is Janelle just like Robin? Did she also orchestrate something?
Yeah, you're right. Like, your brother's ex-wife just becomes friends with your husband and is palling around and hanging out with you. Yeah, and then she converts religions to marry your husband. You're right. And then brings her mom into the mix. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Janelle was very manipulative of Janelle and her mom.
Yeah.
They just kind of slid right in there.
These brown men, they just win. Kody can't resist either of these two winners. So, yeah, so Janelle comes and, wants to see if she would be willing to go visit with her family counselor, Nancy. And, And then we get Christine and Robin on a couch confessional. And then we have to do, but Christine in this one was pretty good. I think she was kind of schooling Robin a little bit about like this, because Robin was coming in with some sister, in our religion, in our blah, 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 blah. But anyway, then we have to hear from Meri talking about like 8 years ago. Oh, that's right. Meri started talking about 8 years ago. She started seeing a therapist of her own. So now, that means that therapist was in Utah. She's more aware. She's more aware of what she did wrong with Janelle. That she realized that she was just, which is very true. She was just thinking out loud, which a lot of people do. It makes me crazy when people do that. That she just said things without thinking. And, but she got to the point now where she's like, but I had been thinking the past year. I didn't want to try any longer. So it sounds like, I can imagine for Meri, she's probably thinking, what's changed? What's changed? And Janelle says, well, a year ago, I became more aware of my feelings and I'm more aware of it. And I just couldn't accept this from you before now.
Wait, so
basically
Janelle was saying she couldn't accept it, or Meri was saying she couldn't accept it?
Janelle's saying she couldn't accept it. So it sounds like Meri's telling us, sorry, I didn't do a very good job. So Meri in a confessional is telling us, hey, 8 years ago, I went to therapy. I started therapy. I started figuring out that the mistakes that I made, I started to recognize my part in my poor relationship with Janelle. And and then she also says, but in this last year, I've been thinking like, I don't know if I want to do this with her. And then we go back to real time and and Meri asks her, what's changed? Like, what's the difference? And Janelle's like, well, a year ago, I've been thinking I've spent this last year. Now that we have Nancy on retainer and I can go see a therapist anytime and I don't have to pay for it. I've been working on this too. And I don't think I could accept the times that you've reached out to me in the past, but now I am. And again, I'm like Meri in this way. This would piss me off. I'm a petty person. I would be like, you got to be kidding me now.
Yeah. Well, and also it's like, oh, well, now when it's convenient for you, it's like you let more time pass where things were bad between us for what? Like, yeah, you should, when I reached out to you, you should have been able to at least, try to listen and whatever, but no, we're going to do it on your timeline, Janelle.
Yeah. And I just got divorced, lady.
Yeah. Yeah. And Meri is obviously she's not feeling good. She's feeling terrible. She's feeling sad. It's clear. She can try to act like this was her idea and she's just so happy that now the kids can be adopted, but she's not that good of an actress.
No.
She is hurt.
And during this time, did you notice lots of tanning? There's lots of tanning and did you notice she was really doing her eyeliner heavy under her eyes, which made her eyes look small. And it kind of reminded me of a teenager a little bit, like this rebellion, like F you, I hate the world. Like, I'm just gonna, I don't know. I felt like she was really just drawing that on because she was in this real F you stage. But you're right. If Janelle cared about Meri, and if I was Nancy and Janelle told me I'm going to bebop over there and I knew all this stuff, I would say, hey, is this really the best time? And I would say, why don't you go over to Meri's house and talk to her and validate her feelings and say, listen, Meri, I know you and I are not close. We've had our issues. I want to work on that at some point, but right now this is not the time. But I'm here. Talk to me. I'm so, this is, like, just have a conversation with her. That's what she was really looking for and needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Much more than
an ally. Yeah.
Than to be told, oh, now you have to do a bunch of work.
Yeah. Like, it's like it's exhausting. Yeah. She doesn't have the headspace for this right now.
Yeah. So of course, Meri's thinking to herself, well, is this real? And Janelle says, well, my personality is just that I ignore something until I just ignore things. I just ignore things until it gets worse and worse and worse and worse than this. And I own that. And Meri's like, well, there's no secret. We don't have any trust. So Meri is just like, I need to think about it. I need to think about it. So
yeah, Janelle
very weird.
Was irritating in this scene. It was like, God.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, and that also makes me wonder how much of this is Janelle's idea, how much of it is the producers, how much of it is any of that. But again, Janelle could have stopped it. She didn't have, no one was putting, she didn't have to have this conversation with her now. She could have pushed back to the producers and said, I don't think this is the time.
Yeah.
But anywho, and then we see this, this another sort of put together scene where Meri's at her computer checking her emails. And this is weird because she says, well, it's about 2 weeks after we signed the paperwork. And I'm like, but I thought it was 2 weeks back when you guys were outside at the deck, but okay. And she sees that the divorce papers have gone through. So it only takes a couple weeks to get divorced in Vegas. Not long, not hard.
Doesn't surprise me.
So we, again, I want to talk about this whole spiritual marriage and, all of that in a second. But so what does Meri do? This is interesting. She calls Robin over. And this is, I've been trying to figure out, like, does she call Robin over because she knows that the minute she calls Kody over, it's officially done. And she's trying to draw this out a little bit, prolong it? Or is she going to Robin because she knows this is really what Robin wanted more than anything? I don't know. I can't figure out why call Robin first. If you guys were a team, quote unquote,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could have just been produced. They could have just said, we're going to tell Robin first.
Okay.
And Meri's like, okay. And because Robin acts like she's surprised and she's like, oh, well, this isn't proper. You haven't told Kody yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she comes over. She says, the divorce is finalized, but I haven't told Kody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess they wanted some reaction from Robin.
I don't know. What reaction is Robin going to have? She's not going to be like, woohoo! She's, of course, going to sit there and go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
but yeah, it doesn't make sense she would tell Robin first, which I think that is why it's just heavily produced, I think.
Yeah. So this is where Meri, Meri's like, okay, well, we need to call Kody over. And so where is Kody? Cody's at Christine's. Shockingly.
That's odd.
Like, oh, dear God. I'm playing with his children.
Oh, my gosh.
How
you caught him on the one day. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one
he's
day
at Christine's house and playing with his children.
Yeah. Wow. What a coincidence.
So bring Kody over. God. And you know what? Sometimes some of these outfits he's wearing, you just know, like the Ed Hardy shirt, the flip-flops, all of it. You're just like, God, you're exhausting. So now this is where things, I think, what's the quote? You doth protest too much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Psych Legal Pop will be back after these messages.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
So after convincing Meri that it's very important that we do this all together, that now he's like, well, I don't know. I don't think we want all this pomp and circumstances. It's too much. Because then Robin wants to have her kids. And then I think, well, maybe we should include the other sister wives. And then we should include this person and that person. And I don't want this to be like a wedding because it's just a paperwork shuffle. I don't want to involve other people. We're just shuffling paperwork. This is just a paperwork shuffle. I don't want the government in my marriage, even though I'm now getting married and divorced and married again, even though I don't want the government in my life. I'm willing to get married and accept some of the things that the government's willing to give me for being married, even though I don't believe in this kind of marriage. But no, too much. We don't need to do it. No. I mean, yeah. So what? Even if you felt like this is what was happening, you already convinced her the other way. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's a little bit of, are you just jerking her around? Or,
yes.
Or when did you decide that you now don't want her there?
Well, because when they talked outside at the picnic table, the divorce was not officially finalized. Like she could have maybe changed her mind and stopped it, withdrew the petition or whatever. But now, it's final. It's been signed by the judge. That's it. No going back. So now all of a sudden he's secured what he needs. I don't want to have a big, make a big deal about it. But a couple weeks ago, I was talking about, including you on this ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
And totally jerking her around. He got what he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. She's disposable.
And convincing her of it. But that's the thing. Like, she didn't want to be part of the ceremony back at the backyard. She didn't want to. You two worked very hard to try to convince her that she did. And then you let it fester. And so then she does convince herself that this is what she wants. And then now you're going to rip it right out from underneath her again.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, just all of it. And again, I know that Robin, I know Robin pushes him around, but she does do a good job of pretending like, what, huh? We don't want the kids there?
She's very good.
Yeah. But that's interesting. I didn't even think about the fact that he was doing what he needed to do during this phase. I was like, okay, well, sorry. Hugo's Cellars, the last meal you're getting with Kody. That's all you're getting.
Yeah.
Now, we then see scenes of, okay, this is the day that Robin, and Kody are going to get married. And Kody has a ponytail. Now, at the time, I wrote down, does Robin love the ponytail? Ha ha ha. And we learn from the unseen footage that she does. I was like, I know that hairstyle's for her. That's for her. And so he's so douchey. He's got the ponytail and the Bluetooth. Robin.
Where are you?
Where are you, Robin? Oh, thought maybe you wouldn't want to do this now. We've gone this far. So she shows up because she's out shopping. And she shows up.
She just left Kohl's.
Yes.
She just left the mall.
But she's kind of dressed up too. Like for two people that see this as a paperwork shuffle, you guys are getting dressed up. You are doing this. And so we see them go in. The cameras can't be in. They come out. Cody's he is beaming. Beaming. Again, if you see this as a paperwork shuffle, you would be dressed like you were that day. You'd be on flip-flops and you would not have your hair in a ponytail and you would not care and you would be walking out like, okay, bye, see ya. No, this meant something to you. Sorry.
No, why would you even be filming it? I know you're on a show, whatever, but he could have said to production, look, this is just a paperwork shuffle. It doesn't mean anything. I don't want to attach any significance to it. This is private. No, I don't want this filmed. And they probably would have been like, okay. But no, they're filming it. They're filming it.
Yeah.
It does mean something.
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
No, why film it? If it's just,
Yeah. No, it's true. I wrote, I'm exhausted.
It's like the back and the forth.
God.
Manipulation. Yeah. Well, and then when did they tell the kids? I
think that's in a couple more episodes. This whole season's so weird. It's like all about Robin, all about Kody, all about Meri, right? Like there's...
Oh, it wasn't in this episode? Maybe I watched ahead a little bit.
Maybe. I think you did. I think that's the next episode because this whole season has a lot of these tell-alls and things sprinkled throughout. There are these weird one-off episodes. So anyway, but yeah, that's the first half. That was the conclusion of all of that. And then we go into this whole tell-all with Tamron Hall. And these tell-alls are always hard to talk about because it's a lot of just answering, asking questions, answering questions and all of that. But I don't know. The first thing that they discuss is this about faith or is this about family? If you weren't connected to this religion, would you still
each other?
Yeah. Or would you choose to live plural marriage? And it sounds like they all agree that they would.
But that makes no sense because nobody else maybe there's some other people. We're now seeing these TV shows about poly family and whatever. But why would you, if you weren't part of this religion? It's just not something that 99.9% of the population does. And if it was so natural and normal, we would have more people living that way.
Well, and also if you really think about it, if you look at that, and we are going to talk about that poly family that looks, I watched the trailer. It looks so good. But one thing that's really important is that with that poly family, they're a closed quad, right? They're a closed quad, meaning these are two separate marriages and they're only with each other, and the rules are very equitable. Mm-hmm. And it's all things that all four people agreed upon and came upon on their own. That's the thing. This religion that you're talking about is one where only the man, there's always one man, he controls things. And because there are multiple women, someone does have to lead the family. Mm-hmm. You can't have 7 people leading. So you have to pick 1 or 2. So those people lead. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is patriarchy. This is just like thrown in your face and to keep you controlled and small. Polyfamily is a whole other ball of wax, but that's a very different mentality.
Yeah, no, this is it's a very religious based thing. Yeah, that's ridiculous to say. And they always ask that at these reunions or tell-alls or whatever, would you still choose this? And no. And and the minute they knew they could leave, they all left. You know? It's like, and the children, not a single one of them grew up to live this way. So this is a crock of shit. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, then we get into this whole section about Kody Brown and Kody Brown groupies. And
there's so many of them.
There's all these women that want to be with Kody.
They want to take pictures
with just Kody. And he's like, I'm there with one of my wives. And so I don't want to take a picture with just us. They don't want the wife in the photo. And so I'm so shy. I'm so shy.
I'm just going to hide behind my wife and just take this picture, and I can't be alone in a picture. Oh, God.
Okay, Kody, give me a break.
You love attention.
You love attention, and so what? So what? So what? Like,
it's just a picture, Kody. She's not saying she wants to screw you. It's just a picture. Calm down.
Yeah. Well, but again, doth protest too much. Mm-hmm. You know who famously never touches anyone in pictures? Keanu Reeves. Have we ever heard the man talk about it? No. People just notice, man, that guy just never touches, he never inappropriately touches strangers. Oh, what a crazy idea. Like, Kody, you could have just been like, yeah, it's nice. It's good. I enjoy taking the photos. I try to be as respectful as possible.
Well, he sexualizes everything. It's like a photo turns into something sexual. It's like,
oh, of course they want to bang me.
Yeah. Well, who wouldn't? I mean, God, you get near this and you just can't control yourself. And so I got to put a barrier. He's like, he says he uses his wives as a barrier. In between,
it's like the plastic thing at COVID times.
Yeah. In between him, this hot Kody, and these sex-starved, women approaching him, like at the mall, where I don't know where this is happening, where these pictures are taking place. Yeah. I mean, is this a regular thing? Kody goes out in public and throngs of women are coming up to him wanting a picture with him?
Yeah. I'm sure the joke is, and it's a stupid joke, but I'm sure you've heard it a million times, which is, oh, could I be the 5th wife? Oh, can I be this? Can I be that? Guess what? You know what else? I bet you when the Sex and the City ladies are together, people are like, can I be the 5th Sex and the City lady? I'm sure when the friends are together, can I be the 7th friend? People just want to be that thing. They're just, it's not that not everyone wants to bang you, Kody.
No. Very few people do.
So, and then this whole thing about jealousy, how do the women handle? Does it bother them that when women are hitting on him? I didn't get the sense that any of them really even cared. I can't. No. I think they were all kind of like, oh, okay.
It doesn't really, because it doesn't happen. Because it's a rhetorical question.
So then this next section is about who's in charge in this family. Ugh, you have to go through this again. Basically back to like how Kody's in charge and what does that mean and what does that look like? And, should the man be in charge? And, of course, Kody's got to do his whole like, well, Tamron in plural marriage. And it's like, oh, okay, fine. Done. I mean, I most of the stuff, I don't know. I didn't think it was so much juicy as it just was like oddly entertaining. I mean, we go through the whole thing about his, and then we have a whole section on his hair. Mm-hmm. Whole hair. And this is where we learn that Robin loves the ponytail.
Mm-hmm. Robin and Janelle like the ponytail.
Yeah. And, but everyone likes the longer hair,
Mm-hmm.
and they all think he's so hot. They think he is so hot. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you have to think this was a different time, when they're showing these tell-alls. It's a different, and that's what struck me so much is that, God, once upon a time, Kody wasn't that bad. He was a goofy, he was goofy, and he was full of himself and whatever. But we did not look at him and go, ugh, like we do now. And he is a guy who is charming and can be charming and is charismatic and has a lot of energy and attracts a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And the way his kids talk about him is so glowing in the next section. But the older kids and the younger kids, Gabe was going on and on about what a great dad he was and spent so much time. And there's so many good things about him. He can't even list all of them. And the older boys like Hunter and Logan, they're talking about, how they kind of think their dad's sort of a stud, because he's got 4 wives and, and it's just like, wow. Like how things have changed. And we used to watch this show in a totally different way because it was boring, but it was interesting. And the family, it was interesting to watch Kody, and he wasn't as obnoxious as we now think he is. And God, he just changed so much. He changed because his whole identity was being a dad and being adored for being a dad and being a husband and being adored as a husband. And the minute that he started to lose that, like, because kids pull away and they don't, they're not telling you how great you are all the time anymore as when they're little, and they move away and, you don't see them as much. And I mean, I guess he just had this fantasy that all of his kids would forever just live near him, be with him, adore him. It was just never going to end. The adoration was just never going to end. And it's just really sad that he needed that so much that he personally fell apart.
I also think that because Kody needs love and attention because he's so attached to that, that he does feed off of all of his wives. And I think that when it was one night, in some ways that kept him a little balanced because, right, like you can't feel full of yourself over at Janelle's because that's not going to happen. But then Robin would feed his ego and give him some of more of that. And Christine was funny and sweet and nice and would like to cook. Like, I think that he got a little bit, and I think that the other wives kind of kept him in check a little bit, gave him some levity. I think Christine gave him levity. I think Janelle gave him, some sort of like chill, like this is life, and all of those things. I think that each wife provided something for him and the children and all that, so that when COVID happened, because I think the question is, would Kody be where he is today if COVID hadn't happened and if we hadn't seen all these changes in our world with the ideologies of things? And I definitely think that him being isolated with Robin and only having her voice in his head, I think did change things. Because I do believe that Robin fed some of these things. I really do. I think she fed like, well, Gabe and Garrison should do this, this, and this for you. Don't you think? Like, I do think that she had a lot of influence because who you're with is important. And what they talk to you about, how you see each other, all of those things, that's very, very important. And I think that he just kind of lost a little bit when those women were gone in his lives.
And, also another thing that struck me was how really happy they were living in that cul-de-sac. Like that was the ideal. That was the best time, the most security, the longest I think they'd lived anywhere. They lived there for like 5 years or something. I think that's the longest time they'd ever lived in one place, and they're all together, and it was the perfect situation. And then Kody decides to just blow it all up. And we're going to move. And then the minute they moved to Flagstaff, that was just all downhill from there. And then COVID was just the final nail in the coffin. Because it had been, I know Christine was, she talks about how even before COVID, like he spent no time with her and her kids. He really isolated over at Robin's house. Meri was completely isolated in her house. And, it was, God, they never should have moved. I really wonder what would have happened if they would have stayed there.
Because what would have happened if COVID happened while they were in Vegas? Like that cul-de-sac could have been its own little bubble of its own in many ways. And maybe that would have been, and they would have done things together as a family. They would have actually, as opposed to being in Flagstaff and farther away from each other. I mean, I think
it's harder to get together.
Yeah. Listen, I don't think that anything was going to stop Kody and Robin from, being together. Because I think the thing is that I think he does love her, and he does feel things for her. I think I think she knows exactly how to play him, but I think the feelings are real between the two of them. So I think that was inevitable to happen on some ways, but I don't think this would have been where we are today. And again, Janelle would still be there. I mean, if he was still there and pleasant, I think Christine would have bailed.
Yeah, you know what? That they could have every night put up chairs in the little cul-de-sac 6 feet apart and talked every night. And
not even 6 feet apart. If they're all in a bubble, they could be near each
but
other.
even if they weren't, if they're all, because in Flagstaff, it was harder to get together. They all live half an hour from each other or more or something. If you could just go outside, set up some chairs, 6 feet apart and talk and connect every day, they would have stayed together. They would have stayed together. And, and Kody did a lot of this to himself with, his refusing to get vaccinated. I mean, we all know his political leanings. I mean, his Instagram handle is something about, the red pill or, if he hadn't gotten involved, if you're so scared of COVID, then get a vaccine. There's a way to, he was just, it was their reaction to COVID. Kody and Robin's reaction to COVID was so bizarre. So bizarre.
Yeah.
And there are many factors that, made the family implode, but that's a really big one. And that's what got Janelle out, the way he reacted to Gabe and Garrison. That was it for her. Not going to the surgery, that was it for Christine. He just abandoned all of his children except for Robin's, because they don't have a choice. She's got them brainwashed and they're younger and they're compliant and whatever. But it's just really sad. I just kept thinking, God, they were so happy then. They should have just all stayed there.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And it's something that everyone always says, like, why did they leave the cul-de-sac? And everyone always talks about how, like, Dayton wanted to go to Flagstaff and that's why Robin moved. But I do wonder if what was also going on for Kody, because I wonder if at that time, as they're in Vegas longer and longer and longer, and maybe he is spending more and more time with Robin. So now he really is, even though COVID isn't isolating him, he's isolating himself. And maybe whether he would ever admit it or not, and maybe they've never really even talked about it. I do wonder if part of him unconsciously said, oh yeah, Flagstaff's a good idea, knowing that it would, now we're not going to be near each other anymore. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's a little bit like, you spent so long trying to get in these cults. You worked very, very hard to get here. And then you're just going to throw all of that away. It has to be more than just this one thing. I don't know. I think that a lot of times people, instead of like sitting down and working on themselves and working on the inner world, they do this thing where they change, they change jobs, they change partners, they change addresses, they change cars, it's possible that Kody wasn't happy in all of this, these marriages, and that he really just did want to be with Robin. And maybe this was his way of doing it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and also just to bag on Robin a little bit more, who in the hell moves not just their entire family, but 3 other entire families, so that you can follow your child to college.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dayton does not, I mean, yeah, okay, he's on the autism spectrum. So what? He can go to college and he'll be just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing bad's going to happen to him. If you're so afraid, then make him go to UNLV, I guess. But to move your entire family that's so, and I worry about Dayton. Like, where is he now? What is happening with him? I worry about the effect that had on him.
Mm-hmm.
He could maybe blame himself for all of this, because the reason everybody moved and the reason it all fell apart in Flagstaff is because mommy had to, follow him to college. He couldn't even live in the dorms.
Mm-hmm.
She's awful. She's an awful parent. I mean, just that is so horrible what she's done to her children. She's keeping them prisoner practically. I mean, and I'm sure Dayton feels some blame in this. And then I also heard that Robin was super freaked out by that shooting. The country music. There was a country music festival,
remember that.
Horrible shooting. That she was really freaked out by that, because I think some of the Brown kids either were there or they'd been there the night before, or were in close proximity to that. And again, it's like, bad things happen in the world. Wherever you go, there you are. It's like there's bad things that happen in Flagstaff. You can't just just move around, move your kids and keep them in a bubble. And she's just stunted those children. Ugh. I don't even know how the younger 2 are going to turn out. I mean, because I worry for them. But anyway, I just had to go on that Robin rant. She really really makes me angry. She really makes me angry. She's very manipulative, and she really in a lot of ways, changed Kody and contributed greatly to the what's happened to this family.
Yeah. Well, and if you look, I mean, what I'm always shocked by is if you look at Christine, Robin, Meri in the beginning versus Robin. I mean, Christine, Meri, and Janelle versus Robin in the beginning of the series. Yeah, Robin was young and hot. She really was. And now, like, all of those 3 women look better than ever. Christine looks better. Janelle looks like so much better. And Robin looks like shit. Do you know what I mean? It's this weird thing that happened along the way of just, there's something about that Kody energy that just sucks the life from you. And then it's not until you get away from him that you're able to like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Robin has sucked her own energy out of her own, you know what I mean? She has created this world out of fear. She's such a fear-based person. She's afraid of everything. She has made her world and her children's world so insular and small. And and she's obviously got some weirdness, with her doll collecting and her compulsive spending and all this other stuff.
Yeah. Well, and also the stuff about, Daddy Paul and I don't feel safe in the world and all of those things. It's a little bit like, how old are you now? I mean, obviously when your parents, and we don't know what this is like, both of our parents are still here, knock on wood, they're still here, that I don't know what it's like to lose a parent, but, it's one thing if you were 16. It's a little different if you're 46. It's a little bit of it's expected. It's part of life, and you're preparing for it. So I don't know. So there were some other things. They went into this whole thing about, is Kody high maintenance? My answer, yes. Who would live with whom? If they had to split up. So it was Janelle and Christine were like, you, I would live with you.
Yeah, stay with me, please.
they both grabbed onto each other and were like, not those two. And what's the money situation? Okay, this I thought was very interesting. They were talking about Sister Wives Closet, and this was still happening at the time. And we get into this whole thing about how Janelle needed to leave the business, and Janelle's giving this very diplomatic answer. I think she was just like, I fucking hate this shit. I don't want to do this. But Kody says that Sister Wives Closet, that first year of business of Sister Wives Closet, supported 2 of the families.
What?
And I'm like,
that's not.
He's like,
possible.
but no, we needed to support 4 of the families, all 4 of the families. I'm like, 2 families? No way did they make that much money.
There's absolutely no way.
I don't know where he even gets that from. It's possible that the gross maybe could have supported 2 families, but that does not, probably the net, not so much. Do you know what I mean? I think he was thinking like, oh, we grossed this amount of money.
I don't even believe the gross would cover it. The 2 mortgage payments for a year on those houses plus everything else. No.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, if you look at what my business earns a year, you'd be like, whoa, Tess, you're rolling. It's like, no, but the cost of running a business, like the cost of things
plus
and
taxes
and all the other parts of it. Yeah. Once you get really down to the nitty gritty, it's not as much as people think. And so, but I think that's, anyway, I thought it was weird. But then they get into the whole thing with the older kids. And I just wrote down, these were the words that they said about them. So Christine's fun. Meri's very particular, Robin's emotional, and Janela's direct.
Sums it up.
Yeah, they tell their moms more, but they go to dad for his advice. You're absolutely right. Aurora, of course, thinks that her dad, I'm like, you just got here. But her dad is the coolest dad. She just loves him. And Gabe loves spending time with them. And yeah. Then we get into this whole... What?
Gabe loves Christine. He said he loves
Christine's his favorite.
Yeah.
And it is, you can see, it's very, very clear that that Christine and Janelle are the best couple. If you want to talk about the best couple here, those 2.
Yeah.
Because all those kids just love them all and feel very connected. And Leon too was part of that. And then this whole thing about PDA and being affectionate in front of each other. And, what does that mean? And how does that work? And should you, Christine wants more of the PDA. I think Christine was just like, touch me. I don't care if other people are around.
Yeah,
just pay attention to me.
Yeah. And Meri said that she would like more PDA too, and not have to worry about, who's in the room. And yeah, that must be exhausting. And that must be so much tension. Like if he's giving, he walks in, if he gives someone a kiss. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sounds terrible.
I mean, yeah. And then we just get into this whole thing. Robin doesn't like the word rotate. Okay. But because we're a family. We're a family. It's not rotating tires or whatever it is. It's like, oh, let it go, honey.
Yeah.
Move on. And that's pretty much all I wrote down. There might have been something else. I was just like, God, I'm sick of
yeah, it was getting late. It was it was interesting.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Wow.
Yes. Well, the new season, the new second half of this season of season 19 is back on April 20th. Very exciting. So very, very excited for that because I think more and more tea is going to come out with that one. So,
well, how much of that do you think are new episodes and how much do you think is going to be the tell-all? I'm sure the tell-all is going to be 4 parts. And
yeah, I think a lot of it will be the tell-all. I think there might be 3 or 4 new episodes and then a bunch of tell-alls. I think it's going to be like 8 episodes.
I think there's going to be, 3 or 4 regular. Or 6 to 8. It's not going to be a lot.
No,
it's not going to be as much as the first. Because we got up to it was 19 episodes or something.
Yeah, There was a lot. So I don't think it's going to be a long season. But I think I think there'll be a couple regular and a bunch of tell-alls. And the tell-all looks pretty good. But again, they're not in the same room. They're all responding to each other. I mean, it doesn't work that way. This whole you respond to this and you respond to that. It's like just talk to each other. But I guess they won't do it otherwise. I don't know. I think Kody wouldn't do it otherwise.
I think you get better content doing it separately because I think if you get them all together, people are not going to speak as freely. And if they do, it might just kind of devolve into this, not a shouting match, but, just an argument. I don't know.
Yeah, but at the same time, it becomes a lot of like, she said, he said, she said. Do you know what I mean? Like back and forth of Meri telling us her point of view and then Robin being like, no, that didn't happen. It'd be nice if there was someone like Christine next to Meri going, yeah, it did.
Yeah,
like,
it did happen.
Hello, I saw it. So
yeah, well, we'll take what we can get.
yes, we're not complaining. So it's back on April 20th. So pack a bowl and and get
yes, 420.
Yeah, the youngsters probably don't even know what pack a bowl means, but if you're our age, you do. So because Kody is actually much better high.
More tolerable.
Yeah. If I was married to Kody, I think I'd be getting high every day. And I would just be like, okay, this is how we got to do it because I cannot stand this person otherwise. But thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. If you enjoy this podcast, please give us a 5-star rating and review. We really do appreciate those. Those help us with the podcast. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want more content from us, go over to Patreon, where we have a weekly bonus where we talk about our own lives, personal lives. We've been reading letters from our parents. It's been pretty funny. I'm still digging, looking for these other letters that I have. I have to find them. But we do a monthly true crime and an Ask Us Anything. And and go follow us on social media and all that good stuff. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, this is Hannah Burner from Giggly Squad. Have you ever put on a bra that makes you feel like a goddess? Prepare to be obsessed with the Dream Angels Wicked Bra from Victoria's Secret, the iconic brand behind the world's most comfortable bras. And I only wear the most comfortable bras. The bestseller features an innovative sling for perfect lift without padding, and the fit is chef's kiss. Awaken your inner goddess with new colors and super femme lace embroidery. Find out why this bra has thousands of 5-star reviews and counting. Shop it in stores and online at victoriasecret.com.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
That new thing? Yeah, we've got it. The Drop by GNC, bringing you all the newness that matters, handpicked by the pros who actually know what's up and what's proven to work. We keep you on top of the trends and dialed into what's next. Whether you're crushing it at the gym, leveling up your game, or thriving every day, The Drop by GNC is where the latest solutions in health and wellness land first. Non-stop innovation and fresh finds daily. Explore what's new and what's next on The Drop by GNC.